How's it going, guys? We're here in Ohio at the Pūr-Speed warehouse. We're going to be putting together one of these, a 16-inch Eco electric balance bike. We're going to be doing kind of a step-by-step process of, unboxing it, how everything comes out of the box, what to look for, and step-by-step on how to fully assemble it. All you're going to really need for unboxing and assembly is a pair of, side cutters, two 15 mil wrenches for your front axle, a number 6 Allen wrench for your foot peg bolts, a number 4 Allen wrench for your handlebar mounts, and then a box cutter to get the box and everything open. Let's get started on this. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start unboxing now. Cut these straps to get them off here. So this is going to have your front number plate and your number decals, as well as your charger and toolkit, your axles, foot pegs, and everything for assembly. We'll go ahead and get these zip ties and stuff cut off first, and then we'll start the assembly on it. Alright, first things first, we're going to start with the handlebars because that's going to be the easiest thing to start with the bike being able to stand up on its own. Grab your number 4 Allen wrench and loosen the clamps here. Make sure to plug in your wire here for your actual throttle controls. And they have 2 little arrows on them here, so make sure you line up the arrows when you go to plug it in, or else it won't plug in. And a nice little rule of thumb with these, snug them up so that they hold still. You're going to need to adjust them based off of your rider, and then once you get them in the position that they want them to be in, then tighten them up tight. All right, next we're going to flip it over and get that front wheel installed. Get your box cutter here and open up the bags. This is going to have your foot peg brackets and the foot pegs themselves, as well as your front axle, your spacers, nuts, and the little caps. So we're going to go ahead and get that one opened up first. Now you're obviously going to need to take one of these ends off, both of them loosen up. Pull one end all the way off with the spacers and everything so that you can slide it through the axle or the wheel itself. Just to kind of make it easier on everybody, it goes the spacer itself, and then your little hook that hooks into your fork here, and then another washer, and then the nut. Now you take your two 15 mils and tighten up the front axle. These caps go on the back axle. So when doing the front wheel, you can refer back to the manual. There's a diagram of how each spacer goes and where they go on the forks when you tighten everything up to make sure you have them in the correct spot. That manual and everything is going to be in with all of your number plate and all the package in there. All right, we're going to flip it back up here. We're going to stand it on the kickstand. We're going to start the assembly with the foot pegs. With the foot pegs, your decal kit, there is 2 decals that go right here and here. it is a lot easier to get those put on first before you put the foot peg brackets and the foot pegs themselves on. So I would recommend doing that first. We're going to go ahead and do that now. Now we're going to get back into your bag that has your foot peg brackets and the foot pegs and springs and everything themselves. So these are going to be loosely assembled in the bags. You're going to have to move your cotter pin out of the way, pull the actual spring pin out, and then it separates itself. That way you can actually get to the Allen head to mount the bracket on. So this one's going to be your number 6 Allen head. And you just set your bracket on and tighten it up. I would recommend a small dab of blue Loctite. I want to get that nice and snug, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, guys, another rule of thumb I would probably get into checking is when you're putting the brackets on, just kind of take your foot peg and stick it in there to make sure that you have it going the correct way. That way you can figure out which peg goes on which side, because obviously it needs to be parallel to the ground. If you grab the wrong peg and try to put it in, it's not going to go in the way it needs to. It's going to face forward, backwards, however. So make sure you have the correct peg and the bracket mounted properly. Next, we're going to be putting the pivot pin and the spring. So with these springs on the pegs, they have this little round nub that comes off of them. The spring's actually going to slide over that. The bigger open end is going to wrap around the peg itself. The other end, when you put it in, is going to push up against the bracket, and that is what's going to keep them spring loaded so that they will fold up and be able to spring load back down. So if they catch the ground or anything, it's not going to break the peg off. So once you get your pin in, you're going to put your cotter pin on the back. You can kind of test it to make sure that you have the spring the right way. If you don't, it's not going to go together properly. There's one side. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. Like I said, on the spring, you've got your bigger open end on it, and then you've got the smaller one. This side is going to go towards the bracket. This is actually going to wrap around the top of the peg. Check your peg. Now, inside your toolkit, there's going to be this little black cover. It's going to be in this little pouch with a little screw. That cover is for the power level switch. So these bikes have 3 different power levels. They have the slowest speed setting is going to be the number 1, which is going to be towards your back wheel. So if you click it towards the back, which is what we'd recommend you starting out on, just so the kids can kind of feel it out. And that's going to be the slowest speed setting. Middle, that's going to be obviously your middle speed setting, and then your fastest speed setting is going to be the number 2, which is towards the front. So if you click that towards the front wheel, then that's going to be your fastest speed setting. Once you get your speed settings figured out, then go ahead and install the cover. It just clips in and there's a little screw. That way you're not getting mud and dirt and stuff caked up underneath there and not being able to adjust the switch. Also in the toolkit is the standard pegs that aren't going to be the motocross style. So if they're just getting kind of used to the bike and playing in the backyard, these would be a good one to start out with, just so they can kind of get the feel for the bike. Once they start advancing and riding it a little bit harder, then you're going to want to put the motocross style pegs on. Also, with your manual, if you have any of the extreme models or the 16S, it is going to come with an additional set of springs. These are the springs that you have to use for the extreme models or the 16S. The factory springs aren't wound tight enough. These are the ones that you need for those particular models. So that's it for today's video. I'll give you a quick rundown of the install of the stickers. Like and subscribe, and we're gonna go for a little ride.